Hi everyone. One of the projects I'm working on today is reproducing this envelope. I decided to not try to do the faux leather for the rest of them until I perfected that technique a little more. So I decided to do a tea stain paper one for the rest. And so with this one, I wanted to show I started off with a 11 by 17 piece of paper, which is ledger. But if you don't have access to ledger paper, you can take an 8.5 by 11 and attach another 8.5 by 11 to get the width that you want while still having that 11 inches with the height. And the reason why that's important is for most books, they're 9 inches tall. And so I wanted to make the envelope as tall as this one and be able to have a fold over. All kind of ways to do that. Maybe you can do two 8.5 by 11s this way. Whatever works, but this is what I'm doing. So with that, because this is just 20-pound paper, I did glue two of them together, back to back like that. And I decided not to use two printed ones. I used a plain coffee dye one and the printed one because I want some relief from the pattern when you open it up instead of seeing the pattern again. The other thing is when I originally made this, you had all this bulk from folding over 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of cardstock. You had all that bulk down there, but I wanted to be able to flip these open, so I was okay with the bulk. But I decided that I would go ahead and just use the fold over on this one. This is going to attach to the front of the back of the book. I'm sorry, the inside cover of the book, and then put a crease line. Well, not this one, but I put the tape here, and then once it's taped down, putting a crease line so you'll still get that effect without losing too much of the space. So that's how I got rid of the bulk, so you'll still be able to do that with those. All right, the other thing I'm working on today, back up a little bit here. What I did here is, again, this is a 1.5 inch fold over. You may decide to do 2 inches. And I'm okay with using the salvage edge. I'm going to ink that up to kind of hide it, but I'm okay with that. So with that, I wanted to cut off just a small angle to create that right there. And so to do that, I just marked off about where I wanted that to end, and I right here, and then just did a small angle cut right there. And then I marked on this piece of paper and did the same from where this one is going to meet, and did this from that mark to here is where I made that cut. And so because I used the ledger paper, I had some leftover piece from cutting it, and I added that here just so that it covered up where these pieces came off. All right, so that I'm also working on doing the assembly line process for the little buttons. These are cardstock buttons, and what I used my die cut machine and cut out hundreds of these little 1 inch rounds. If you have a punch, you can do that, so that I can use these. And on a couple of them, I used it on the pattern side. For this one, I'm using it on the plain side. And what I did, once I had them punched out, I took the glue, and I'm holding it in my hand to not waste the glue, but get it all the way to the edge. So I'm turning that around here, get it all the way to the edge like that, and take my other one, grab it, slide them together. It's important whether you're using glue sticks or tape, whatever kind of glue, it's all about contact. So you really got to get in there and burnish it together. I'm not going to do too much of that on, it'll shake my camera, but you want to really press them together and until they start setting and drying. It's all about them making contact. All right, so after they were glued together, I used this punch has it has a small punch and a large punch, and it has this measurement piece here. So I was able to really get a center hole using this. Kind of eyed it going side to side, but I knew with me hitting that brace right there that I was going to be in the center. There you go. So you got that. You have craft brads. They're smaller like this. And then you have the kind that you get from Office Depot or someplace like that, from an office store. So depending upon what look you want, you can go with that like that. Or you can go with one of the smaller ones like this. Oh, small ones are hard to hold on to. There you go. So you got that. So anyway, in inking, what I did was I took the ink pad, and I have marks all over this, but I have a pencil mark here to remind me which side I really inked up, like this, and go in and I make the edges dark by keeping almost a 90-degree angle like that. And because I'm doing this, the other side doesn't have as much ink on it, and then I'll come back in. I have my side that has a lot of ink on it, and then I'll take the side that doesn't have a lot of ink, and I'll go back through and kind of fan it in so that it's light. With light pressure also helps that. So once I have the background color inked, then I took the black ink, and one of the reasons I'm doing this in bulk is because I can lay all these together without overlapping them. Get some ink on this pad, and then I can go in here, press down, lift up, and there you go. I have these pieces here, and some were lighter. Might have been because of pressure or because I'm on a folding table instead of at my desk. So I can go back in and over these. There you go. And so this piece of scrap paper is going to end up being a nice piece to use. Anyway, so we have that. So that's all I have for you today. Just wanted to share that with you, and I hope you enjoyed.